Shalom. First of all, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. Peace and salutations to the chosen and elect. And I'm Ariah Zabak out of the GMS Dallas camp. And today I'm going to go over the Revelation chapter 12 breakdown, verses 1 through 6. And it reads, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars." And the woman is dealing with the nation of Israel in the first part of that verse. And the precept to that is Jeremiah chapter 6. Let's get that. In verse 2. And it reads, "I have likened the daughter unto Zion, to a comely and delicate woman," showing you that Israel is this woman that's dealing in that first verse in Revelation. Going back to Revelation in 12. And it reads, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun," which is Israel, "clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Also, let me go to Jeremiah 13, 3 and 14, because there's another precept. Jeremiah 3 and 14. And it reads, "Turn, O backsliding children, said the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion," showing you that that woman is Israel. All right. So let's get back to Revelation 12 and 1. And it reads, "And there appeared a great woman in heaven, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman, Israel, clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon," and let's deal with the woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. That's going into the it's a symbolic of the sun and the feet is symbolic of the sun and the moon is symbolic of wisdom and understanding. And let's get that account in Ecclesiastes chapter 8. All right. "Who is as the wise man, and knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed," showing you that it's symbolic. The sun is symbolic of wisdom. And let me get another account here. In Job 31, let's go to Job 31 and verse 26. And it reads, "If I beheld the sun when it shine, or the moon walking in brightness." And again, it's just a symbolism of the sun and the moon when you're dealing with wisdom and understanding. All right. Wisdom maketh the man shine, and is likened unto the sun. And we have another account that we can get here in Ecclesiasticus 39. Let's get that. Ecclesiasticus 39, verse 12. And it reads, Yet have I more to say, which I have thought upon, for I am filled as the moon at the full. And again, it's showing you that it's a symbolic, showing you that the moon is symbolic of understanding. Yet have I more to say, which I have thought upon, for I am filled as the moon at the full. Going into that understanding again. All right. And let's go back to Revelation 12 and 1 again. Get Exodus. Get that out the way. All right, Revelation 12 and 1 again. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman, Israel, clothed with the sun and the moon, which means wisdom and understanding, under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And that crown of 12 stars going into Israel. And let's get that account in Genesis 37, verse 5. Start at verse 5, but the meat is in 10. And it reads, And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren. And they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood around about, and made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams, and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And Joseph was that 12th star. So those stars are a representation of Israel, all 12 tribes. All right. And we're going to move on to verse 2 in Revelation. And I go over Revelation 1 again, chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, which we understand is a woman clothed in the sun, with the sun, which is Israel, with the sun and the moon under her feet, which is wisdom and understanding, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And those are the 12 tribes of Israel. Verse 2. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. The she in this verse is Israel, and that is Yahweh, which is the child that cried. And we'll get that count in Matthew chapter 11, verse 12. All right. Verse 12. And it reads, And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffer violence, and take it violence by force. And that there, let's go back to Revelation 12. And that's that in pain, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And we're going to get that account, because this is when Israel was catching hell under the Romans, when Yahushua was on the scene in 70 AD. That deliverance represents Yahushua, which we can get that in Romans 11. Let me grab that real quick. I say then, had the Most High cast away his people, thy power forbid. For I also am an Israelite. Oh, Salakia, verse 11, verse 26, 11 and 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, which is Yahweh Shai, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. So that deliverance represents Yahweh Shai in Revelation 12 and 2. We'll read that again. And she, which is Israel, being with child, and coming out of Israel was that one Shiloh in Genesis chapter 49. I think it's in verse 10. That one that was prophesied, and that child is Yahweh Shai, travailing in birth, was the us catching hell under the Roman captivity, and paying to be delivered. And this was deliverance. This was the Yahweh Shai being represented here, our deliverer. All right, let's go on to verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. Now, I know, we didn't heard fables growing up, whether you're in a Christian church or you have other camps breaking the scriptures down wrong, saying it's a real red dragon, hitting the stars and in the heavens and they falling. Those are fables. The Bible breaks down what this is talking about. That great red dragon is the ancient Roman Empire. And having those 7 heads were the seven governments or kingdoms, ruled by Esau, which were Germania Major, Germania Minor, the Romans, the Greeks, the British, the Spanish, and the French. And also the one that came out of the British, which is the 8th, was America. And the 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. And those 10 horns are when you're dealing with 10 horns, that's the power structure known as the European, the ECC or EU, and NATO, because NATO, I think the ECC, or what you would know as the European Union, is the military aspect of that. You can look that up, pull it up on the internet as well. And then you also have the city states as well when you dealing with NATO, where you get the it's more than just just 10. You also have the city states as well. And I can't read off some of those. You have Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Spain, and Portugal, England, Ireland, and West Germany, which would be those 10 horns. All right. And moving on to, let's go back to verse 3 again. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, which is the ancient Roman Empire, having 7 heads, which were the 7 government or kingdoms that I just mentioned, and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. And again, I just read the 10 horns, those countries that represent the 10 horns, the power structure of that system. Verse 4, and it reads, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And again, this is talking about the ancient Roman Empire taking over Jerusalem, and the third part of the stars, which we already read, those stars are Israel. And the third part that was taken over was the southern kingdom, which was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, because they were under that captivity during the ancient Roman Empire. The northern kingdom, Ephraim, they were already scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth, and over to the Americas at that time. All right. And we have an account of what that means with the stars being casted down in captivity. Let's get that, meaning that they were in the lower state. Let's get that in Luke 21 and 20, verse 20. Start from verse 20. And it reads, and when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is not. And again, that's the ancient Roman Empire besieged Jerusalem under Vespasian Caesar, that was given to Titus to take charge of capturing and the destruction of Jerusalem. And later on, when Vespasian passed, the brother and the latter end was involved in it as well, Domitian, of the latter part of Vespasian in 79 AD. Verse 21, Luke 21 and 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. And this is going into the southern kingdom, fleeing from the Roman persecution. They were besieged as well. They were besieged and starved out. And this is where they were, under that affliction. They were eating their babies, belts, also their garments as well. Verse 22, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. And this is where Yahweh Shah was part of what he came to fulfill, because this was prophecy that had taken place. Now that we're reading this, and this is what Yahweh Shah was prophesying. These are the prophecies being fulfilled. Verse 23, and it reads, but woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon his people. Again, they were helpless, in a result of eating their kids, what you would call the day of Jacob's trouble, to them as well. Verse 24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And That's where the southern kingdom, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, fled into some parts of North Africa and West Africa in 70 AD. And the Gentiles are the Edomites, or Esau, the so-called Edomites, the Romans, that was trodden down to Jerusalem. And we're going to go back to chapter 12, verse 4. All right, and it reads again, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, which was, we went over that, the southern kingdom, and then cast them to the earth, which put them in a captivity, the lowest state. And the dragon that stood before the woman, and that dragon, which was ready to be delivered, that dragon was Herod, and we get that account in Matthew, the 2nd chapter. All right, this is Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. Now, when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. Wise men meaning a company of wise men, and not, the three that you see on, covers and photos and pictures and stuff that we learned in the Christian church, that Christianity teach. So those were a company of wise men. Verse 2, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star. And that star is a chariot. And we're going to get that account later on in the verse. For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. Verse 3, when Herod the king, and there you go, that dragon is King Herod, which we read in verse 1, and also heard it's repeating itself in verse 3 again. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him, because they understood the prophecies. When Yahushua is on the scene, well, if Yahushua is born, they know he know that his rulership is over with. So Herod, he was troubled, Verse 4. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Hamashiach should be born. And also that was written in I think Micah, the 5th chapter, in the 2nd verse. We'll get that. And they said unto him, I'll move on to verse 5. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, again, which is Micah. And verse 6, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princesses of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. And we know that's Yahushua. So let's get that account about that being Micah in verse 5. Micah, the 5th chapter. What's that, verse 2? Okay, 5 and 2. But thou, Bethlehem, Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth, which is Yahushua, unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. And there it is. All right. I'm going to get back to Revelation. Actually, let's go back to Matthew chapter 2. All right. Then Herod, verse 7. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. Again, that star was the chariot. And how do we know that? We're going to read it. We can get that in also. It's a precept to this in Revelation. Well, this is the precept to Revelation 12:4. But we're going to read it in verse 8 that was a chariot. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search diligently for the young child. And when you have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. That's Herod right there in that verse in Revelation 12, verse 4 and 1. That's him right there standing before the woman. Moving on to verse 9. When they had heard the king, they departed. And lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, showing you that was a chariot, because it said it went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. So they was led by the chariot. Verse 11, verse 10. Salakia, verse 10. When they saw the star, they rejoiced, the chariot, with exceeding great joy. Verse 11. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And we didn't read stories like how they were in the barn. The scripture doesn't say that. Doesn't say that. The scripture says, and when they were coming to a house, they were in a house, and Yahushua was in a manger. He was put in the manger, which is a feeding box, but it was still inside of a house. They were inside of a house. That's the point. All right. Let's go move on to verse 12. And being warned of the Most High in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. All right. And that's in Revelation chapter 12. Let's go ahead and get 13 through 15. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt. Verse 15. And was there until the death of Herod, that it may be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Proves that the dragon is Herod. And we can get that account also in Hosea 11:1. Let's get that. When Israel, this is Hosea chapter 11, verse 1. When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. And there you go. Letting you know that this was Herod. All right. Let's go back to Matthew chapter 2. It's a little bit more on that. All right. Let's get verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So that's the account that's given in Revelation 12:4. So let's go back and read that again. Revelation 12:4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them down to the earth. So this is Herod again, and them being cast down to the earth, in captivity in the lower state. And the dragon stood before the woman, which we just read that account in Matthew chapter 2, which was ready to be delivered, which is Yahweh or to devour her child as soon as it was born. And we just got those accounts. Verse 5. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne. And that's going into that man child is Yahweh Shai. And let's get Psalms 2. Let's get Psalms 2. Let's start from verse 6. Let's read. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. Verse 7. I will declare the decree. The Lord had said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. And again, that showing you that man child is Yahweh Shai. Verse 8. This is Psalms 2, verse 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Yeah, because going into Revelation 12:5 again. Let's get that again. Revelation 12:5. Verse 5. This Revelation 5. Revelation 12 verse 5. Read that again. It says, and she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations. And this is what Yahweh Shai is here to do when he come back. This is part of the new covenant that, the chosen and elect. Well, I'm kind of moving a little bit too fast, but this is Yahweh Shai that's going to be ruling the nations with the rod of iron. And that rod of iron is a hardcore slavery, and we're going to get those accounts here in Psalms. We're going to read those. This is Psalms chapter 2 again. We're going to read those here in verse 8. It says, Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, which is slave possession, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possessions. So this is slavery, possession, and inheritance that we're getting from. That's going to be taking place when Yahweh shall return. Verse 9. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. And, we're going to treat them bad, beat the crap out of them. The curses that was on us is going to be upon them, that you can read that account in Deuteronomy chapter 30, or even Jeremiah 30:16 as well. And also let's get that in verse in Psalms 137. It's saying the exact same thing. We're going to start from verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, who is Esau, the so-called white man, Edomites, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. The sons of Edom is the so-called white man. Um, um, and that raise it is talking about how he burned down Jerusalem in 70 A.D. Verse 8, O daughter of Babylon, who are out to be destroyed, which is America. We know Babylon is America. Who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. And this is, talking about how America had, the Edomites had destroyed the Israelites, destroying Israel. Happy shall he be that taketh thy and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. And, and that's part of ruling with a rod of iron right there. We're going to give them that same recompense that was given to us. So, the scripture says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, which is in Revelation chapter 9. Chapter 13 and 9 and 10. All right, let's get another count in Psalms 147. And it reads, 149. Psalms 149, verse 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. To do what? To execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. Because that's what happened to us when we went into slavery. They had put chains on us. We had those fetters of iron around our necks. And it says to bind their kings and their chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, because the top, elites and bankers are going into slavery first. That's why the Most High are going to allow them to survive the nuclear destruction, because they're going to be the first ones, the first fruits that going into slavery. And let's get that again. In verse 6, let the high praises and the knowledge of the saints. That's in verse 6. That's talking about the Israelites. And we can also get that account as far as the saints being the Israelites in 148, Psalms 148. And 14. The saints are the Israelites. And he also, verse 14, he also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel. A people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. And there you go. The saints are the Israelites that we read in that account in 147. All right. And verse 8. Verse 8, 149, and verse 8, it reads, where it says to bind their kings in chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. That is that account there we can get in Isaiah chapter 24. Verse 21, I believe. Yeah. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 21. And it reads, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the hosts of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. In verse 22, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited, showing you that they're going to be preserved for slavery. Then, yeah, that was it right there. That they should be preserved once, letting them know they're gonna be the top ones, the first ones to go into slavery. The elites and the top bankers, the Rothschilds, those guys. All right. And let's go back to Revelation chapter 12 and 5 again. And she brought forth a man child, which is Yahushua, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. We just read those accounts that we're gonna, give them the same recompense that was given to us. They're gonna drink of that cup of indignation that we had drunk. Hardcore slavery and being on the bottom, having those atrocities done unto you as they were done unto us. All those curses that we read in Deuteronomy chapter 28 is going to be upon them as well. All right. Let's go on to verse 6. Revelation 12 and 5. And she was born to rule our nations. Okay, in the middle of the verse, and her child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne. And we can get that account in Acts chapter 1. Let's read that, verse 9 and 11. And this is the ascension. Verse 9, Acts 1 and 9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into the heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as you have seen him go into the heaven. So just like he went up into the chariot, that's the same way he's going to come back. It's going to be in the chariots. He's going to ascend, and just like he ascended, he's going to descend as well. We got another count of that too in Acts 2. And I think that's in verse 30. It kind of goes into it. We'll go ahead and read it. This is Acts chapter 2, verse 30. And it reads, Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that the Most High had sworn with an oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Hamashiach to sit on his throne. He seeing this before spake of the resurrection of Hamashiach, that his soul was not left in hell, neither his flesh did see corruption, which is the grave. Verse 32, this Yahushua had the Most High raised up, whereof we all are witnesses. Therefore, being by the right hand of the Most High exalted, and having received of the Father the promise of the Holy Spirit, he had shed forth this which ye now see and hear. Verse 34, for David is not ascended into the heavens, but he had himself. The Lord said unto my Lord, Sit thou on my right hand until I make thy foes thy footstool. And I think the meat is in verse 6. Therefore, let all the house of Israel know as surely that the Most High had made that same Yahushua, whom you have crucified, both Lord and Hamashiach. So these accounts is showing you again that he's sitting on the right hand of the Most High, knowing that he had ascended. Let's get that. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 12. And that's him right there. Again, let's reread verse Revelation 12 and 5. And she brought forth a man child, Yahushua, who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. They're going into hardcore slavery. We read those accounts, and her child, which is Yahushua, was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne. We just read those accounts in Acts 1 and 9 and 11, how he was caught up and ascended. And he was sitting at his throne in chapter 2, Acts 2, 30 and 36. All right. All right, Revelation 12 and 6, moving on. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of the Most High, that they should feed her there 1,203 square days. All right. And we can get that count in Luke 21. That place is America, where it says, and the woman fled into we understand that's Israel, fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of the Most High. And that place that was prepared for us was America, because the northern kingdom was already over here. And we're going to get that account. Let's get that in Luke 21. We can go back to it. I think we already read it, but we'll go back to it. That's Luke 21 and 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captivity into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And we get that account in Hosea also, 1 and 10 and 11. Let's go and get that, Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. And that's here in over here in the Americas. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appointed themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. Showing you that this is America, where this place is talking about, that's being prepared in Revelation 12 and 6. Keep going on Revelation. All right, let's go back and read that again. Verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness, Israel, which was into north part of Africa and north and west parts of Africa, where she had a place prepared of the Most High, and that place is the Americas. And that they should feed their 1,203 square days. And that's just really that's talking about a time period. And really speaking of now as today, and that's dealing with like welfare benefits. We're reading here that they should be fed there for 1,002 square days. How are they being fed through that welfare and benefits? That's about to be cut off, according to these prophecies, heading into Jacob's trouble. And again, I hope this lesson was edifying. And with that, I want to give our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught us this truth. Peace and salutations to the chosen and elect. Shalom.